channel. Thanks for stopping by. My name is James. If you're new here, I like to share tips, tricks, and tutorials about web development. Today we're going to be doing something that I've done on this channel before, but it's a little bit different now, so I'm going to revisit the topic, and that is building a navigation menu in Etch. So Etch recently updated their documents to basically make it a lot easier to add a navigation menu, and the reason that they've done that is because they, a few updates ago, added the ability to export and import components. So you can build a component, export it, and then import it into a completely different website using Etch. So similar to, I think you can do something like that with Gutenberg patterns or something. I don't know. Honestly, I've never really used Gutenberg in that way, so I think that's the idea. I think you can do stuff like that. Anyways, whether or not you can do it in Gutenberg is irrelevant. You can do it in Etch. And the way they do it is basically a gigantic JSON object that you just copy to your clipboard. So it's very simple. And so they've added this to their docs for a navigation menu. So I'm going to show you how that works and how to very quickly put together a navigation menu on an Etch website. So we're going to be playing around with this. This is just a little thing I built just for fun, and I rebuilt WordPress.org's website. So this is the landing page, and I think I did a pretty decent job. It looks very close to the original website, but what we're going to do is we're going to delete our header and we're going to recreate it. So I'm going to pull up, hopefully they haven't changed it. Okay, looks the same. I just realized my button is not right, so we'll improve that. But that is basically what we're going to do. So I'm going to go ahead and start by just deleting our header component. And maybe just in case, I'm going to call this old. And I'm going to get rid of it. So what I would do to create a navigation menu is, of course, I would start by creating a header. And they don't have a header element, but you just put anything down, section, div, whatever, and just change it to header. And I'll name it header. And I think I'll get rid of this container. And then I'm going to turn this into a component. I'm not going to add anything to it yet. I'm just going to turn it into a component. And then I'm going to add a slot, and it's going to be a content slot by default, so you need to change that. Call it whatever you want. I'm just going to call it nav because that's what I'm putting there. And a slot will allow us to add a component inside of a component. So I'm going to go ahead and save that, and I'll exit. So we have a header. It's empty. There's nothing in it. We have an empty slot that we can drop other components in. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to their Etch documentation. I'm going to go to Elements, Dynamic Elements, and Basic Nav. Now, this documentation used to be different. It used to have a block of HTML for the navigation, a block of CSS, and a block of JavaScript. You could copy each one of those, copy the HTML, go paste it in your site, come back, copy the CSS, go paste it in your site. And then it had a block of HTML for the burger component, and a block of CSS, and a block of JavaScript. So, what they've done now is, instead of having to do all that, we can just copy the whole thing in one go. Click this. I just now copied an entire navigation component to my clipboard in the form of a giant JSON object. I'll come back here, and I'm just going to hit Control V, and there it is. I'll drag it up here where it belongs in the slot. I'm going to come back here. I'm going to grab the burger component, and I'm going to do it again. There it is. You can see I already have a nav up here. It's kind of cheating because I already had the loop created, but I'll go ahead and show you what that looks like. Normally you would probably be seeing the default nav that comes with an Etch website, where it says like item 1, item 2, item 3. And I'll save this quick, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. We have this loop here. This is the loop that I modified for this website. You can see I didn't completely modify it. I still have some of this dummy data in here. But this is mostly what we see on WordPress.org's website, right? We have news, showcase hosting, blah, blah, blah. Here we have news, showcase hosting, blah, 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 blah. So this is my JSON object. It's called basic nav. And if you look at our Etch component, we edit this, you'll see there's a prop called basic nav. And we selected this JSON loop, or this JSON object called basic nav. And that's what's being used inside this nav. If we go to here, loop props.basicNav. So this loop is saying loop through whatever props.basicNav is. Well, props.basicNav is this prop, and the value of this prop is this JSON object that we were just looking at. So that's why we have, if we look here, item.label. Where do we get label from? It's right here, label. Where did we get item from? It's right here, props.basicNav as item. So we can do item.label, and that'll grab the label from that JSON object. For our links, we can do, is there one in here? I might not have actually added any of the links. Here we go, href, dropdown item.url, because we have another loop inside of a loop called dropdown item. So then we do dropdown item.url, and that's going to grab this value right here. So we have a key and a value. So it's very simple. And then of course, if I want to add another item, let's say I go here and I say label what up, and I say URL what up, and I come down here and give this a comma. If I save this, you're going to see there it is. So very handy, because you can reuse this loop. You can use this same loop to add this menu anywhere. So if you want to have the same menu in your footer, you don't have to create a whole nother loop for that. If it's the same menu items, just reuse the same loop. So that's pretty handy. If we want to take a look at what's actually going on here, this is all the stuff that we used to have to do manually. So we used to have to copy all this HTML from the docs, come in here, paste that in, come over here, go back to the docs, grab all the CSS, paste it over here, go back to the docs, grab all the JavaScript, paste it down here. It did all of this for us. All of this data was included inside of this when we copied this, okay? And the same goes for this burger element down here. So if we check this out on the front end, you'll see obviously it doesn't really look right yet because their nav is pretty basic as far as the styling goes, and we want our nav to look like this. So we're just going to do a few basic things here. We're going to give it display flex, and we'll do flex start, so everything comes over here, and then we'll just add a margin left to this. I'm not going to add the search thing because I'm lazy. I did actually just I did a video on how to actually add a search to your website. If you're curious how to do that, it's more simple than I thought actually. But let's go ahead and drop in our WordPress logo, and I think I'm going to put that in the slot here right before the component. So I'll click on this and I'll start with a div. I'm going to change it to a figure, and inside this figure we're going to drop a image. I believe I already have the image because I've done this before. Oh, it was probably an SVG. So let's see, right click, inspect. Yep. So I just like to go ahead and copy this element. This works really well. And I'll get rid of this. Actually, I can just replace all this code with that. And there we have it. All right, so we got our logo. Call this logo wrapper. Call this logo. And then we have our nav, and we have our burger, which is invisible on desktop, of course. So we need to go ahead and edit our header component now, because we need to give our header, let's give it a class of header, which probably already has a bunch of stuff in it. Again, I've done this before. Yeah, so that's pretty close already. So let's take a look at what we did. So we gave it flex direction row. Justify content flex start, that forces everything to the left here. If we did flex end, it would shove everything to the right. Then we just did some padding, inline end. So this added a little bit of padding here. And then we still have a few things we need to do. We need to add the this Get WordPress button. And we need to do a little bit of padding and whatnot here and there. So I'm going to, again, let's get out of this component, and I'm going to add after the nav component. So I'm going to hold control to make sure that the thing I'm about to add is a sibling of this. And I'll add a link, and we'll call this, let's call it CTA, Get WordPress. And let me see. Did I add a button? Nope, let's just do it the old school way. Let's give this a class of header CTA. We'll say background blue. We're going to be nice and lazy with this. Color white. Adding 1 rem, 2 rem. Is that too much? That's too much. 0.5 rem, 1 rem. It's good enough. Border radius, like really small. 5 pixels. Text decoration, none. Font weight, I don't know, bold. There we go. And just because I'm a great guy, I'm going to find out what the color of this button actually is. There we go. And I think that border radius is even too sharp. Let's go with 3 pixels. And then we just want to do margin inline start auto. That will push it all the way to the right, even though everything else is going to the left. Our figure, if I remember correctly, let's call this .header underscore logo wrapper. I think it needs a padding of 20 pixels. Some of this I'm doing off of memory. Let's save that and just see what it looks like. Okay. Our SVG looks weird for some reason. It looks fine in the builder. It looks fine in the builder, but it looks weird on the front end. Is that the padding of this figure? No. Title equals WordPress.org. Huh. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to cheat. I'm going to add our old header. See what that looked like. Oh no, but it didn't come with... Ha ha ha. Yeah. Alright, never mind. That's not going to work. Well, now it's not even working in the builder. It was working in the builder. Let's try this again. Copy this SVG right here. Looks good in the builder. Broken on the front end. Well, that's weird. And I don't know why, because it was working perfectly fine before. Let's see, we should probably say dot header Uh, I don't know. I suppose giving it a width will help. No, that's just weird. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, we're not going to worry about it because that's really not the point. I don't know if you can hear that beeping. That is my washer telling me that it's done. Sorry about that. But I think for the most part, this is probably good enough. All right. But I want to show you a couple of things. Well, at least one thing. Aside from the fact that the copy paste is a lot easier now because they turned it into a component and all that. They did make another pretty cool improvement to this header situation, which is if we edit our nav component, or no, we don't want to edit it, sorry. We just want to select it. You'll notice over here we have these options. This is the loop. This lets you choose which JSON loop to loop through. That's the same. This is just accessibility stuff. You can give it a nav area label, but this is what's really cool. You'll notice right now if you hover over these items, it pops up the submenu item. Well, if you change this to click, now you have to click on them. So very easily you can choose which, because we had a discussion about this and it's pretty split. And people are very passionate about whether or not menu items should be on click or on hover. And so you get to choose for yourself. Before, Kevin is team hover, and so before the menu was only on hover, and if you wanted to make it on click, you would have to go in and modify things yourself. But now all you have to do is switch this. This is a little annoying right here. I don't know if they are aware of this, but let's move this over here. And I'm not sure what this means. Click plus hover flyout. I don't think it affects us. I think it is if this submenu item had another submenu in it, I think that means that you click this and then have to hover over this to get another one to pop out. I think. But yeah, so I really like that because I'm team click. I think I've been I used to be team hover, and I think I'm team click now. And so I appreciate that all you have to do is click this little option right here, and you can pick which one you want. So, and let's actually make sure the burger is actually working, because I think we have to do. Oh, I could fix that too. Oh, I'm going to put that button somewhere else. I'm going to put that button. I just remembered where I put this last time. I'm going to put it in the actual nav. That way it disappears on mobile like the rest of the nav. And what I did when I did this was, I think I just put it in the UL at the end after all the links. Save that. Let's try again. And then I'm also remembering more. I need to make sure that let's bring this back where I like it. I'm going to make sure the Etch nav is 100%. There we go. Now our button is where it belongs, and it should disappear on mobile. Yep, and it should be in there. And then I'm going to give this button a margin left of auto as well. So let's get out of this component. Let's find our burger button. Let's edit this component. And we'll say margin inline start of auto. There we go. Now it's where it belongs, and we're going to fix that button as well on mobile, which is, let's see, when probably 768. Yeah, 768, and it probably should go sooner than that. But since we're already using 768 for that, then I'm going to come in here and say for this button, which is in the other component, so let me go edit that. The CTA, I'm going to say at media. Actually, I think I can just right click. I always type this out. Yeah, I can just right click and add a media query. But I don't want it to be this width. I want it to be 768 pixels. And I'm going to say, what am I doing? Oh yeah, it's the button. I want to just get rid of the margin inline start. I think I can just do unset. Yep. And then if I do, let me test this here quick. I think if I just do align self of flex start, it will stop being full width. Yeah. So we'll do that. And probably want to give it a, actually instead of in unset, let's do like 20 pixels because it needs to come off that edge a little bit. Yeah, that looks better. And it's probably too much, so I would finagle that. What is that padding? Is it the... Where's that padding coming from? It's not the header. I thought for a brief second, I thought oh, here we go. It's on the buttons. It's a padding of nav item padding, so 1 rem on the left there. So let's go with 1 rem. I would use variables normally. Yeah, that's better. Okay. And these are click to open now instead of hover to open. And we didn't have to mess with any JavaScript, you know, we just finagled some CSS to make it look the way we wanted. But everything, accessibility is included all right here. Just boom, click this, copy, paste, click this, copy, paste, done. And if you're wondering what the slot is all about, it just allows me to add components inside components. That's all this is. This doesn't add any wrapper to the front end. There's no extra div or anything. This is just making it so that you can add components inside a component. Because otherwise, if I edit this component and I try to drop a component in here like the nav, if I right click on this, I can't edit it, right? Because you're already in like a component editor, right? So we have to exit the component editor, and now we can't see that nav component that we added in there until we come back in here and edit the header component. But the problem is you can't edit it when you're in here. So and I forgot to save it, so it's not even in here anymore, but you saw, right? We can't edit it. Right click, it's grayed out, can't edit it. So you add a slot like this, like we did, and then you leave the component and you can see the slot, and now you can drop stuff in the slot without having to edit the header component. You can just drag, you can add a div, whatever you want, add whatever you want inside that slot, including a component. And if it's a component, you can right click on it and you can edit it. So that's what the slot is there for. And I just put everything inside. I could have technically probably like edited the header and put this logo wrapper in there. Doesn't really matter, because like I said, this slot doesn't add a wrapper or a div or anything to the front end. So it's just a little placeholder. Okay, so I think that's it. Make sure you check out the docs. They are improving literally every day. There's the Etch team adding stuff to the docs. There's they open up to the community, the private community, to update the docs, and so a couple people are working pretty hard at that. So lots of stuff in here. They just added some stuff to dynamic data, modifiers. These are all really cool. So we have data keys, and then you can modify them. So like the date, you can add the date, but it adds it in a default dumb format that nobody wants. So then you can add the date format modifier to it. and put whatever PHP date format you want in there. So there's a lot of modifiers in here, a lot of cool stuff. So I will quit rambling. That is it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.